China just built a bridge that shouldn't exist. 800 meters long, suspended 300 meters above a cliff, held up by a single tower. And somehow it's just floating there in mid-air like someone hit the pause button on gravity. Engineers around the world looked at the plans and said it was impossible. China built it anyway. And this isn't even close to the craziest bridge they've constructed. Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning into our channel. My name is Thomas. The future is now, and we are here to explore and reveal all the latest and greatest technological breakthroughs from around the world. Be sure to subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on our daily uploads. Now let us dive in. Let me tell you about something that's happening right now that makes every other country's infrastructure look like it was designed by children with building blocks. China isn't just building bridges, they're building structures so advanced, so impossibly ambitious that even the President of the United States has expressed his amazement at what the Asian giant is accomplishing. We're talking about highways that climb into the clouds, bridges that literally disappear into the sky, and engineering feats that make you question whether physics still applies in China. What makes these mega bridges so extraordinary? Why are they generating such worldwide impact? Stay with me because what you're about to see will completely change your perspective on what's possible in modern engineering. Let's start with the one that breaks your brain. The Luqiang Bridge in Yunnan Province literally appears to be levitating over a mountainous abyss. This colossus of steel and concrete, almost 800 meters long, is suspended more than 300 meters above a vertiginous cliff. That's like stacking the Statue of Liberty on top of itself 3 times and then building a road across the top. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. How do they achieve this levitation effect? The answer sounds like something from a magic trick. An enormous 150-meter high tower holds the entire roadway through steel cables with only 2 support points at the valley's extremes. That's it. 1 massive tower in the middle, 2 anchor points on the sides, and 800 meters of highway just hanging there in space, like it forgot to fall down. Built between 2019 and 2022, this bridge literally crosses through the mountain with tunnels, creating a connection that drastically reduces travel time in the region. With its 2 lanes and 4 traffic lanes, it's a vital artery for local traffic. But here's the warning nobody talks about. This engineering marvel is not suitable for drivers with vertigo. Driving on it requires considerable courage, or at minimum resisting the urge to look down into the void. Imagine you're driving along minding your own business and you look to your left and there's just nothing. 300 meters of nothing between you and the rocks below. Would you dare to drive on a road that floats in the air? The Chinese demonstrated that when it comes to connecting communities, there's no natural obstacle that stands in their way. But think the levitating bridge is crazy. How about a highway that ascends 2,600 meters into the clouds? A highway that climbs higher than most commercial airplanes fly seemed impossible until China built it. The Yaji Highway to Heaven is not just a highway, it's an epic conquest of the planet's most hostile geography. This beast extends for 240 kilometers through colossal mountains, mighty rivers, and abrupt terrain, ascending from 600 to 3,200 meters above sea level. That means an average of more than 7 meters of elevation per kilometer. To put that in perspective, you're essentially driving up a skyscraper that's 240 kilometers long. Built between 2007 and 2012 at a cost of $3 billion, this mega highway uses countless structures, dozens of bridges, tunnels, and viaducts that literally sculpt the mountains. But here's the crown jewel, the Ganghezi Bridge, an 1,800-meter-long structure that looks like a giant roller coaster located at 2,500 meters altitude. It's the world's first interlaced reinforced concrete beam bridge. And as if that weren't enough, on the same road we find the Baipujiang Bridge, known as the world's highest bridge at 565 meters from the ground to its highest point. It's as if they had built a skyscraper lying on its side over a valley. This highway is the definitive proof that when China sets out to connect 2 points, it doesn't matter what mountains, valleys, or abysses stand in the way. They literally build a path to heaven. Can you imagine the view from up there? 1 wrong turn and you're not just off the road, you're off the planet. Now, if you think spending $3 billion on one highway is impressive, wait until you hear about this next one. $20 billion and nearly a decade of construction for a single project. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge is simply monumental. 55 kilometers in length, connecting 3 regions through a system of bridges and underwater tunnels. This titanic work took nearly a decade to complete from 2009 to 2018 at a cost of $20 billion. It's one of the most expensive projects in Chinese history, but the results are extraordinary. It reduced travel time between Hong Kong and Macau from 3 hours to just 30 minutes. Think about that, 3 hours of your life gone. Just like that. Now you have 2.5 extra hours to do whatever you want. Sleep, work, binge watch another show, whatever. But the true genius lies in its design. The structure is divided into 3 sections: a main bridge on the high seas, an underwater tunnel, and connecting bridges. Why this complexity? Because the Chinese thought of everything: typhoons, tsunamis, earthquakes, and even impacts from ships of up to 300,000 tons. This bridge is not just an engineering work, it's a declaration of intent. China demonstrated it can connect what seemed impossible to connect, creating a highway over the sea that resists nature's most destructive elements. They basically looked at the ocean and said, you know what? We're putting a road here and there's nothing you can do about it. And the ocean apparently agreed. Think that's impressive? Wait until you hear about the bridge that literally gets lost in the clouds. Building a bridge that literally disappears into the sky wasn't just a technical challenge, it was almost impossible. The Celestial Bridge, located in Guizhou province, is a masterpiece that spans more than 2,100 meters over a deep valley. Built between 2016 and 2019, this bridge consists of 3 enormous towers, the largest of which is 30 meters taller than the Eiffel Tower at 330 meters high. The multitude of stay cables create an impressive visual spectacle that extends to the horizon. And you know what the most fascinating detail is? Its nickname is no coincidence. The bridge receives the name Celestial because due to its extraordinary height, clouds frequently engulf it, creating the illusion that it disappears into the sky. At a cost of $215 million, this investment has completely transformed the region. It has notably improved traffic efficiency, considerably reducing poverty in neighboring provinces by connecting previously isolated regions. Can you imagine driving on a bridge that literally gets lost in the clouds? One minute you can see where you're going, the next minute you're surrounded by white mist and hoping your GPS knows what it's doing. It's like driving toward heaven itself. But here's the question, would you trust your daily commute to a bridge that regularly disappears from view? The locals do, every single day. Now, here's where things get really interesting. An interchange with 5 levels and 20 different routes sounds like a traffic nightmare come true. The Huangzhuan interchange, nicknamed the Confusing Bridge, is the most complex overpass you'll see in your life. Located in Chongqing, this monstrous engineering work took 8 years to build from 2009 to 2017. Why so long? Because it features a colossal 37-meter-high structure with 5 levels, 20 different routes, and 3 highways crossing through it. At a cost of $230 million, thousands of vehicles circulate daily through this labyrinthine structure. But here's what's incredible. Despite its apparent complexity, authorities assure that moving through here is quite simple. Of course, provided you understand Chinese to read the signage. Otherwise, you could spend the entire day going in circles. It's like a giant 3-dimensional puzzle where each piece is a road. Can you imagine using GPS here? It would probably go crazy trying to calculate the route. Turn left, no wait, turn up, actually go down 2 levels, then spiral right. The Chinese turned a road interchange into a modern art piece that defies conventional logic. And honestly, if you can navigate this thing without getting lost, you can probably navigate anywhere on Earth. This is the final boss of driving challenges. But wait, because China decided that building bridges over mountains and oceans wasn't challenging enough. They needed to build one through a desert. 13 million plants as a shield against the planet's most devastating sandstorms. Here, the Chinese built something many considered impossible, a railway bridge that defies constant sandstorms. The Desert Bridge is part of the Hotan Railway, a monumental work that includes 5 elevated bridges over 434 prefabricated pillars covering almost 50 kilometers of impassable desert geography. But the Chinese didn't stop there. To combat the devastating sandstorms that could bury the tracks, they planted 13 million plants around the structure, creating a natural barrier against the elements. It's as if they had turned the desert into a railway garden. 13 million plants. Do you have any idea how many plants that is? That's enough to give every person in a major city their own plant with millions left over. Construction began in 2018 and the 825-kilometer route was inaugurated in 2022. Now it forms part of a circular route of more than 2,700 kilometers that completely surrounds the desert, allowing trains to travel at speeds of up to 120 kilometers per hour. Can you imagine seeing a high-speed train emerging like a mirage in the middle of the desert? The Chinese made it reality, defying one of the planet's most hostile environments. They looked at one of the harshest deserts on Earth and said, perfect spot for a railway, and then they actually did it. Now, speaking of insane timelines, let me tell you about something that will make you question everything you know about construction speed. A 3-story highway that winds over a mountain following the shape of a giant dragon. The Dragon Bridge, located on Tianmenlong Mountain, is undoubtedly a masterpiece of engineering creativity. This spectacular 3-story highway winds over the mountain with a 350-meter elevation change using 7,000 tons of steel and thousands of tons of cement. But here comes what's truly impressive. How long do you think they took to build it? Take a guess. 5 years? 3 years? Try 1 year. Chinese engineers completed this architectural marvel in just 1 year. They began construction in March 2018 and inaugurated it in May 2019. 2. Put it in perspective, there are cities where it takes longer to repair a pothole than it took China to build a 3-story bridge over a mountain. The design is no coincidence. The Chinese built it following the shape of a giant dragon lying on the mountain, connecting lowlands with high-altitude mountainous regions. A much more economical solution than drilling tunnels through the entire mountain range. Can you imagine driving on this structure? It's literally like driving on the back of a steel dragon. You're winding up, spiraling around, climbing higher and higher, and the whole thing looks like something out of a fantasy movie. Except it's real, it's open to traffic, and people use it every single day to get to work. But you want to know what's really wild? China decided that bridges should be fun too. Combining a functional bridge with a giant 120-meter high Ferris wheel seemed like a crazy idea. But in Tianjin, we find something completely unique in the world. A bridge that's also a giant Ferris wheel. The Ferris wheel bridge isn't famous for its conventional architecture, but for being the base of the Tianjin Eye, an imposing 120-meter high Ferris wheel. This structure combines functionality and innovation in an extraordinary way. The Ferris wheel transports up to 768 passengers per hour in its 48 cabins, completing one rotation every 30 minutes. But here's the fascinating detail. Visitors can enjoy panoramic views while below. Traffic flows normally over the bridge. Construction began in 2007 and was completed that same year. But the Ferris wheel didn't open until 2008. Why? Because the Chinese conducted exhaustive safety tests to ensure the Ferris wheel wouldn't roll away. Imagine the headline, "Giant Ferris wheel rolls through Tianjin streets." Each night, the bridge transforms into a neon light show that reflects in the high river, creating a magical image that attracts tourists and locals alike. It's the perfect fusion between practical infrastructure and urban entertainment. Who else but China would think to combine a bridge with a giant Ferris wheel? It's like they had a meeting and someone said, "You know what this bridge needs? A carnival ride." And everyone else said, "Brilliant, let's do it. Here's what nobody talks about." These aren't just impressive structures, they're statements. Every single one of these bridges is China saying, "We don't care what's impossible, we're building it anyway." While other countries debate for decades about whether to fix a pothole, China is constructing highways through the clouds, bridges that float in mid-air, and railways across deserts that shouldn't exist. The Luqiang Bridge alone, that levitating monster we started with, took just 3 years from conception to completion. 3 years to build something that appears to defy the fundamental laws of physics. The Dragon Bridge? 1 year. 1 year to construct a 3-story highway that winds up a mountain like a mythical creature. These aren't just engineering achievements, they're demonstrations of what happens when a nation decides that the word impossible is just a challenge to be overcome. Think about the scale of ambition required to look at a 500-meter deep canyon and say, "Let's put a road there." Or to look at a mountain range that's been standing for millions of years and say, "We're going through it, over it, and around it, all at the same time." The audacity is breathtaking. The execution is flawless. And the results are structures that will be standing long after we're all gone, monuments to human ingenuity and determination. And here's the kicker. While we've been talking about these 8 mind-blowing bridges, China has been building more. Right now, as you're watching this, there are dozens of equally impossible projects under construction. The Jianjian Canyon Bridge is rising more than 2,000 feet above a valley floor, set to become the highest bridge on Earth. They're using the largest cable crane system ever built, suspended high above the canyon, capable of lifting trusses weighing more than 21,000 tons with absolute precision. To achieve this, engineers integrated the Internet of Things with China's Beidou satellite navigation system, ensuring that every massive component locks into place flawlessly. The bridge itself is embedded with a neural network of smart cables, constantly monitoring the main structure in real time. Bridges that will make these look ordinary. Highways that will make the highway to heaven seem like a dirt road. Structures that will redefine what we think is physically possible. China is essentially turning infrastructure into an extreme sport. What can we build that's higher, longer, more complex, more impossible than anything that's come before? And then they go out and build it, usually in a fraction of the time anyone thinks is possible. So let me ask you something. Which of these mega bridges blows your mind the most? The levitating bridge that shouldn't be able to stand? The celestial bridge that disappears into the clouds? The confusing bridge that looks like a 3-dimensional knot tied by a giant? The desert bridge surrounded by 13 million plants? The dragon bridge that climbs a mountain in 3 stories? Or maybe the Ferris wheel bridge that says, why choose between transportation and entertainment when you can have both? What technology amazes you the most? We'd love to hear from you and we'll reply to all comments. And if there are any technologies you'd like us to cover in the future, let us know in the comments below. Comment the exact minute I blew your mind the most. Highest voted comment gets pinned and I'll make a full video on it. We upload videos almost daily exploring the most incredible technological breakthroughs happening right now, so subscribe so you don't miss anything. Because trust me, if China keeps building at this pace, tomorrow's impossible will be today's reality before you finish your morning coffee. The future isn't coming, it's already here, and it's hanging 300 meters above a canyon in Yunnan province. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.